Tony Bancroft is an animator and a native of Orange County, California. For over a decade, he worked for Disney Feature Animation and was the supervising animator for Pumbaa the Warthog in The Lion King and co-director of the animated classic Mulan. In 2002, he left Disney Animation to found Toonacious, a Christian-themed animation studio, a move that stretched and tested his faith. In addition to his extensive experience in the animation field, he is also an author, a podcast host, and a program director and associate professor at Azusa Pacific University. Please welcome Tony Bancroft.
Tony, hi, welcome.
Hey. Hi, guys. Thank you for having me.
Hey, this is such a joy for us, and it's really fun for a lot of people here because you have a lot of Disney fans in the house, including yours truly, missing Disneyland, but we're so glad to have you.
I know. COVID will bring us together back in the Disney world once again.
Yeah.
Well, I brought a little Disney with me, you can tell from my office, my home office here.
Well, it's so cool to have you, and it's fun to see all that cool stuff behind you. It looks like you're drawing something. Is that, what's his name from... the guy from Seinfeld, what's his name? Kronk? Is it?
Yeah, it's a little rough drawing of Kronk here.
Love it. That's awesome. Very, very cool. Well, you've had such an awesome, a pretty incredible career for an animator especially. And for a lot of people that don't know, can you tell us a little bit about your story and about your faith?
Yeah, I actually accepted Christ into my heart when I was younger in junior high, and I thought, that was it for me. I'm on a path that will only bring me closer to Jesus my entire life. But when I got into actually working at Disney, and I became very consumed with, this is about me. I got myself here. I built up my talents, and I started to forget about what Christ had done for me. And there was a real change that happened after I finished co-directing Disney's Mulan, the original animated one, not the new one.
Yeah.
But after I finished that, I decided I wanted to leave Disney so that I could start my own faith-based production company, animation production company called Toonacious. And I did that. And that was like, jumping into the fire. I had built up a lot of comfort at Disney, I think. And to really kind of just live my life totally for Christ was a big deal for me. And that's led me on a journey now that's lasted my whole life. And I continue to serve Christ by what I do and using my talents for him.
Yeah, I love stories like yours because, Disney for an animator, that's about the best you can do, isn't it, in terms of the marketplace? Working on Mulan and Emperor's New Groove and some of these other movies. By the way, I've been told I look like the llama from Emperor's New Groove. You see it?
You look like a llama? That's not a compliment. I don't think that's a compliment.
Okay, I'll take it as a compliment. But I think for a lot of people, it would have been an incredible thing to have this. And I just love when people are courageous like you. You had it wasn't just a good job, it was a good paying job. You're married, you've got kids. Was it hard for you to move away in that way?
It was, like you said, I had 3 daughters by that point, and they were all under the age of 10, so they were all very young. We had the nice big house, white picket fence, the whole thing. And so when I came home and I told my wife, I feel like God is calling me to leave Disney, she was like, you better check that, because he ain't telling me that. And but he did. It took another 6 months of her really prayerfully going before the Lord and listening to his voice, and through scripture and all that kind of stuff, we really came to the same place and started left Disney, started our own animation company producing videos called Linny and Sid, and we did that for several years too. And now I teach, I do all kinds of stuff, but I share the gospel in whatever I do, whenever I can.
Was it hard when you were at Disney? Especially in the 80s and 90s, I've heard there was a lot of drama back then. I don't really know, it's all hearsay. But was it hard in that environment to be a Christian and did you really go out of your way to kind of share God's love and encourage people, or was it hard to be that way in that environment?
It wasn't hard to show God's love. And I think that's something that I would put out there for anybody, is that even in dark places, and yes, Hollywood, Disney back then, Disney right now, can be a dark place for sure. But it's not hard for us to share the gospel through our lives too, to be a light in a dark place. And people used to ask me back then, well, what are you doing working at Disney and being a Christian? Can a Christian really exist in that environment and all this kind of stuff? And I'm like, where should we be as Christians, if not in an environment like that? That's what Christ would do. That was my calling. I felt like this was my missionary field. So yeah, speaking about my faith to others, or even just living out a good and positive life as a Christian and always giving God the glory, that was key to how I shared Christ.
Well, I just think it's so great that you did kind of jump out on your own, and you did Toonacious, and you did some of these other things, and I'm sure just leaving that comfort zone had to be a horrible feeling. I feel like right now we're sort of re-gearing after, I feel like a lot of, you've heard Disney, for example, laid off, I think now over 28,000 people. There's been more layoffs. We've had a couple people here who got laid off who worked there part-time and other things. There's going to be a lot of people at other businesses who've been laid off, and there's going to be kind of I feel like a restart or a rebuild even for America in the coming couple of years, and a lot of people are going to have to weigh some of these decisions. What advice do you give to someone who is thinking about either leaving where they're at or going after something new like you did with your studios and your different things that you've done? Do you have a bit of advice, like especially for now, for someone that's looking at that world?
Yeah, and I do believe that we as Christians can't compromise, but we also live in the world, even though we're not of the world. And so I really believe that how we achieve and show the best light of Jesus is trying to be excellent in whatever we do. I find that too many people getting into animation, the industry, and even other industries, they just don't worry so much about being excellent and good at what they do as much as, just being a Christian. And I think you can preach all day, but if you're excellent at what you do and you give good advice, that you show love to others, sometimes that's really the best that you can do to really transmit Christ out there. And then the questions come, right? That's what people gravitate to that. They gravitate to hopeful people, to positive people, and they want to know what makes you positive. And that's the moments you shine.
That's great. I love it, Tony. So that emphasis on just being excellent at your craft in your place, so that your witness isn't, tampered, that you really want to be a blessing to your team in a secular environment.
You really do. Yeah,
awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, Tony, thank you so much. Tony Bancroft, we just appreciate you, and we're so thankful for your time with us. And it was so fun for us to meet an animator from Disney and a professor at APU. We're just so grateful to have you, and we're so thankful for all you've done. And thanks for encouraging us today.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Okay, God bless you.